Hello and welcome to Pock and Rob. In this week's video I am going back to 1973 again for an anniversary video, and this is the 50th anniversary of my top 15 singles from that year. Before I dive into this, I would remind you to subscribe if you've not already done so. Click the thumbs up to like the video and the bell to receive notifications of future content, and let's dive in with number 15, which is Merry Christmas Everybody from Slade. This was recorded in the July of the year, on one of the hottest days of the year apparently, released in time for Christmas, a million-selling single, and their third number one in a row after Squeeze Me, Please Me and Come On and Feel the Noise. Massively on fire. It's their last UK number one single, which is a real shame. Overplayed, definitely, but absolutely quintessential Christmas. Merry Christmas Everybody by Slade at number 15. Number 14, a little bit of easy listening territory for the Carpenters and the absolutely beautiful Yesterday Once More. I'm really fond of the Carpenters singles. I can't be bothered with listening to any of their actual albums, but their singles, that run of 69 to 73, which my mum had that compilation album, is just great pop singles from start to finish. And Yesterday Once More, my number 14. Number 13 is the appearance of Roxy Music. They had two singles in 1973, and I have picked the lead-off track from Stranded. It's Street Life. I like Pajama Rama, and it was just outside the top 15, but Street Life I think is the better song. I love the sound effects that kick the song off, and I like the whole Stranded album. Number 13, Street Life from Roxy Music. Number 12, we're time for some full tilt boogie. It is Caroline by Status Quo from the album Hello. Caroline's just a great driving boogie song. Number 11, I have placed Sunshine of My Life by Stevie Wonder from the album Inner Visions. Beautiful melody. The chords go into different places you're not expecting them to, which is a common trick of Stevie Wonder's. It's the opening track of the album. It's a really beautiful melody, and it could be levelled that it's a little bit sentimental, but it's by no means the level of sentimentality that we get from something like I Just Called to Say I Love You from '84, which is just horrible. But Sunshine of My Life, my number 11. Moving on to number 10, and we in 1973 are solidly in the era of glam rock. It's a glam band. It's The Sweet with Ballroom Blitz. I first encountered this song thanks to Wayne's World and its prominent usage in that film. It's just fun on a 45. It's everything that encapsulates what was good about glam rock, is that it just didn't take itself seriously. And Ballroom Blitz, great fun, my number 10. Number 9, it's Stevie again, and it's Superstition from the album Talking Book. What a track. This is absolutely fantastic. It was at one point in my top 100. It's tumbled down a bit because of perhaps over familiarity. I just loved Superstition. It was apparently offered to Jeff Beck and he turned it down. I wonder what was in his ears that day. Superstition, number 9. At number 8, I have placed a Beatle. And it's Ringo Starr with Photograph, the lead single from the Ringo album. Photograph, I think I'm right in saying, was co-written with George Harrison. It does make me wonder what could have happened with the Beatles if we'd have had lots of Harrison and Starr co-writes in the future, had they been able to put aside all of their differences and Alan Klein not walked in and destroyed the band. And it's quite possibly Ringo's best song. Photograph at number 8. Number 7, we're back with a glam band again, and this time it's a band I don't actually care for very much, with the exception of this song, which I think is their best thing. It's 20th Century Boy from T-Rex. I'm not a Mark Bolan admirer, but 20th Century Boy, again, I first encountered this in the late 80s when it was re-released to promote a greatest hits. It became a hit again, and it stands up in a way that I'm not sure a lot of his other stuff does, at least for me. 20th Century Boy, T-Rex's best song at number 7. Number 6 is Elton John. Elton John released 2 albums in 1973 and 4 singles from those albums. This is from the first of those albums. It's from Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player, and it's Daniel, the opening track. Gorgeous song. There is apparently a second verse that was dropped that reveals the true subject of the song. It's apparently about a boy watching his brother, a GI, go off to war. Daniel is travelling tonight on a plane. That verse was dropped, but it doesn't hamper the song. It's a really lovely ballad, Daniel, and amongst Elton John's finest work and one of Bernie Taupin's best lyrics. Number 6, Daniel by Elton John. Number 5, I have placed Rubber Bullets by 10cc. This was their first UK number 1 single. It's from their debut album 10cc, and it's again fun on a 45. This is a band that, like the Sweet, were not taking themselves too seriously. Certainly in 1973, you can't be taking yourself seriously and come up with lines like, "I love to hear those convicts squeal. It's a shame these slugs ain't real. But we can't have dancing at the local county jail." Taking the mick out of the classic jailhouse rock. Rubber Bullets is, like I say, it's fun on a 45. My number 5. And number 4, we're back with Slade again. And much as I like Merry Christmas Everybody, they had a much better single that came out the same year, and it's Come On Feel the Noise. Whilst this is by no means my favourite Slade song, and at some point there will be a tracks of my years of Slade because they're a band I am extremely fond of, Come On Feel the Noise is the best of their number 1s for me. It is noisy, it's explosive. I don't think they're taking themselves too seriously. I mean, their spellings were a clever little gimmick. It's just great riffs, just a great song. Come On Feel the Noise at number 4. The remaining 3 are all in my top 100 songs. So if you've seen that series of videos, then you might be wondering what's coming. Number 3, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road from Elton John, the title track of his second 1973 album. This came out before the album, but was the second single because he'd already released Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, which is fine. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is phenomenal. Brilliant tune, clever lyrics by Bernie Taupin, really make me kind of, every time I hear it, I want to hear it again. I love playing it on the piano because I think it's one of his best pieces. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, my number 3. And number 2, and therefore slightly higher in my top 100, it is, in my opinion, the second best Bond theme. It's Live and Let Die from Paul McCartney and Wings. It's an incredible piece of music when you really break it down. You've got your beautiful slow opening and then the crash in on the Live and Let Die, and then the craziness of the triplet melody, followed by that reggae bit in the middle, and back to the craziness, and then returning to the opening part of the song. It's actually a really, really fine film theme in and of itself. The fact that it's also a Bond theme, it kind of in many ways set the template for what a rock Bond song could be. Covered by Guns N' Roses on their Use Your Illusion 1 album, to great effect, used in another film which is Grosse Point Blank, to brilliant effect, the Guns N' Roses version. Live and Let Die, one of Paul McCartney's greatest post-Beatles songs. It's my number 2. Which means my number 1, if you have watched my 10 videos doing my top 100 songs with my son, you may have worked it out. It's Life on Mars by David Bowie. Now this feels like a cheat, because this was released in 1971 on Hunky Dory in an album that didn't do well at the time, but was re-released to capitalise on the success of Ziggy Stardust. They released Life on Mars as a single for the first time. It became a proper hit, and it's my favourite Bowie song. It's in my top 10 songs of all time. I think Life on Mars is terrific. And you can hear, if you really listen closely, what was the genesis of this song, in that he was approached to write English lyrics to My Way. They didn't like what he did, but he kept the chords and created Life on Mars. And having seen some videos recently all about plagiarism of songs, there is no plagiarism between My Way and Life on Mars. They are totally different songs. But that chord sequence is My Way. Try playing them together if you're good on a piano, and you'll hear they are the same song to start with. Life on Mars is just brilliant. It's Bowie at his best. It's my number one. So that concludes my top 15 singles from 1973. I've only gone with UK singles. Had I gone to include things that might have been released as singles that year around the globe, then I would have a very different number one. It would probably be Paul Simon's American Tune, but that was not released as a single in the UK. Please let me know in the comments below what you think of the list, and maybe tell me what your favourite singles were from 1973 that are now 50 years old. I'll be back in a week with another video, but until then, I'd remind you to subscribe, like, and click the bell, and I'll see you in a week.